Raging Gale by James Ryan. Read by the author. Part the 84th. The end of the venture? The bailing to keep the raging gale afloat stretched on, minute by painful minute. Even with Charity taking her side of each filled bucket, the strain in Hope's shoulders started to scream with every new desperate load. Hope was sure that at any second her arms were going to pop out of her sockets, bloodied, ripped masses of meat, in all likelihood still connected to the buckets that went down empty and came back filled with water. She even pictured one of her arms going over the side with the bilge, floating in the sea, waiting for the ship to sink so that the rest of her body could drown with it. But after a good hour of bailing went by, Caden's calls for buckets stopped coming from below deck, and soon after, buckets loaded with water stopped coming up as well. As the line stood down, the only loud cries came from Hope's shoulders, pleading for rest. "Should do," Charity said as she rolled her shoulders forward and back. "That was a close one, no? How are you doing after that?" Hope tried to say something in response to her question, but could not find an answer. The men who had gone below deck on the bailing line soon came up into the light. Some of them paid closer attention to Charity, now that the crisis was over. From the looks Hope saw on their faces, she feared a new crisis was about to come forth. Before words could be exchanged, Sanders came up from below and mounted the quarterdeck, followed by Osei and Follard. The appearance of the captain and two of her officers tabled that issue, as she stood above the assembled crew, who turned to her. "There was a rot at the keel line," Sanders announced to the assembled crew, "which, according to Mr. Follard, would have given way regardless of what action we'd seen. I want there to be no such talk that any action we took led to this, as I and those who examine the rot can tell ye. It was too far below the waterline for any shot to do that. We be afloat now, but we're in need of some thorough attention, and we be bereft of water and meat stores lost to the flooding. We be at as good a time as any now to review and discuss the fate of the venture." The men looked around with concern on their faces. Hope could hear expressions of surprise behind her from some of the assembled men. "We're well blessed by our efforts so far, and it's been a good run, I tell ye, but it means nothing if we can't spend it. Perhaps we'll find another prize before we go for repairs in Tortuga." The Hope heard some positive reactions at mention of this place, and Sanders waited for their excitement to die down before continuing. "At that time, we'll be needing to take stock of this venture's accomplishments. This had to happen sooner or later, and if ever there was a port for doing such in, then Tortuga certainly be it." All the crew assented with cheers, save for Hope. Thank you for taking this moment with me. If you want to keep up with new chapters as they get posted, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon for notifications for when pieces go up.